Hi, I'm Lucky Balaraman and I oversee the functioning of the Magnum Group. I thought I might tell you about a new service which we are now offering our customers. That service is the design of user manuals. If you ask someone to design a user manual for you, the person or the company needs to have a certain skill set. To start with, the person must be a good communicator. When you send your materials to the vendor, the vendor has got to respond quickly, saying that they have received your files, that the files open well, and that they'll get back to you in X number of hours. And in X number of hours, they darn well had better get back to you. Secondly, the vendor has got to have some technical background to understand how your product works. Because if the vendor doesn't understand how your product works, how is the vendor going to design and compose a user manual for people? Well, with all that covered, the next skill that the vendor has to have is CAD. You might give the vendor photographs of your product, and then the vendor has got to be able to convert that into a suitable CAD view. Maybe the vendor wants to create a 3D model and then take 2D views of it. Or maybe the vendor wants to just draw isometric 2D views of the product. Whichever the case may be, the vendor should have the necessary CAD drafting skills. Once that's done, the vendor has got to have skills in writing good English, flawless English. The vendor should be able to write in an easy to understand fashion, because very often users of your product are not going to be master's degree holders or doctoral degree holders. You have to write for an average audience, which means that when you write, you have to follow certain guidelines. For instance, whenever you are talking about a certain object, you should always use the same words to describe it. If you're talking about the lens of a camera, one time you shouldn't say the camera lens, and another time you shouldn't say the lens of the camera. You should always say the camera lens. You shouldn't use any term without having defined it earlier. That's another important guideline. The vendor has got to have skills in page layout software, whichever it may be. After that, the vendor has got to have an aesthetic eye. When the page is finally laid out, it shouldn't be too crowded. It should not intimidate the reader. The vendor should not be too expensive. The prices should be reasonable. The vendor must also deliver on time. As I mentioned earlier, if the vendor says we'll deliver in X days, then it should be delivered in X days. So these are some of the characteristics which a designer of user manuals should have. And the Magnum Group has them all. To get in touch with us, you can go to the URL which is shown on the video site from which you've downloaded this. Or here's a short way to get there. Go to tmgcad, that is tmgcad.com, and then on our homepage you will see the link to user manuals. Click that and you will go to our user manual page, after which you can just send us a message. You can send the message to me. My name is Lucky Balaraman. You say, hey Lucky, here's some input information. We want a user manual done for this product. What do you think? I'll respond to you myself very quickly. Thanks for watching this video. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a nice day.